Konnichiwa everybody, welcome back. So, this video has been doing the rounds. Your 10 mouse played games. I've been thinking about doing this all since last week really, but I found it really difficult, if I'm honest, to sort of really guesstimate what 10 games I've played the most, with a few exceptions. You know, I would imagine it's much more easy to do if you've been playing games on modern platforms, because they tell you how long you've been playing them, don't they? So if that was the case, it would have been easy. But when you're looking at retro games, obviously it's just guesswork. So I ummed and ahed whether to do it. I've seen a few guys do it, like I say. Really enjoyed the videos. I hope a few guys do a few more. So it's only a bit of fun anyway, so I thought I'd have a bash. There may not be that many surprises, but it is what it is. But yeah, there's some great videos going about. I think the first one was Subliminal VCR. Subliminal VCR, I think. I was quite new to the channel. I don't think I'd ever watched it until the first video. Good channel, so I'm going to enjoy watching that. So thanks for this question, mate. And then Ollie 8-Bit Boy's done one. Stu Ninjabearhug. I've watched Clint Retro Rewind. I've watched RertoRed Steve. Not sure if there's been any more so far. There might have been. Apologies if I've missed anybody off. I'll put links in the description to all the guys' videos that I know about, so you can check those out if you want to, and do one of these yourself. Why not? Bit of fun. So, like I say, this is an exceedingly difficult subject. So I'm just going to go with a few honourable mentions to start with, because my games playing tends to be, or has always tended to be, you know, I'll binge on something, whatever it was at the time, and I'll play. If I like the game, I'll play to death at the time, and then I may not have played it much since. So consequently, the hours I've spent playing it are lower than some other games, even though I think the games are fantastic, if you know what I mean. So I'll just throw a few out. We've got Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP on the Mega Drive. Loved this game back in the day. Spent hours on the World Championship. Absolutely brilliant. Loved the arcade. Obviously that's not as good, but at the time it felt fantastic. I just wish we'd have had a proper arcade port at home, because we never have. Tempest 2000, magnificent game, the best game on the Jaguar by far. I've played this ever since. You know, I'll have a blast on it, 2 or 3 goes, and then I'll leave it alone for a bit, and then I'll go back to it again, and I'll always play Tempest 2000. Magnificent. Much the same, Crazy Taxi. Stunning game, still amazing to this day. Obviously played loads back in the day, and I keep going back to it all the years since. Brilliant. Same with F-Zero. Awesome game. Come on Nintendo, we need another one. This is the best one for me by far, the original. Just mind-blowing. When my brother got his Super Nintendo and I played this, that was it. I loved it. And I've loved it ever since, and I still play it from time to time. Right. Number 10. This is one of them games I've never really played loads of, but if I could accumulate the time I have played it over the years, it must be right up there, so I felt I needed to include it. And it's probably the best packing game ever. And it's probably the best game ever for the console it was sort of made famous on, if you like. And it's the humble Tetris on the Game Boy. The best game on the Game Boy, in my opinion. Stunning. It's perfection. Next up, this is a PS2 game. I had this when I got my Japanese PS2 when it first, when it first came out in Japan. I hadn't got many games for it. I think it was only a couple of months after, or even less than that, after it came out. I got this, which is Golf Paradise, which was later released, PAL, as Swing Away Golf. I spent hours and hours playing this. So good, fantastic, and it's still great today. This is obviously all in Japanese, but I negotiated all the menus and got to play it and all the tournaments, and it's fantastic. I've not played it much since, but I dread to think the amount of hours I did play it at the time. So I felt that needed to be in here. If you like Everybody's Golf, the cartoony style arcadey golf game, you can't go wrong with Swing Away Golf on the PS2, and it's like £1. It's amazing. Then this one is probably the oddity in the list for me. It was a launch game, and I didn't buy it at launch for the simple reason, even though it was like the big release, I thought I'm never going to play it, so I just didn't buy it. And then for whatever reason, at some point, a couple of months later, I did buy it, and I dabbled with it a bit, thought it was alright, but then I kind of left it alone. And then for some reason I went back to it, and I got hooked. And my nephew also had it at the same or slightly after, and he started playing it, and then we kind of got into playing it together, and then it snowballed, and I absolutely loved it. And it's Breath of the Wild. Just a phenomenal game. It's one of the best games ever made. It's just, you can't describe how good this game is. It's perfect in my opinion. The hours I've spent playing that, and I rarely do this, but I completed everything. I did all the DLC, got the motorbike. It's amazing. And I've tried Tears of the Kingdom. I just can't get on with that. I hate the building mechanic. So for me, Breath of the Wild is way better, but each to their own. Maybe I'll go back to Tears of the Kingdom one day and that'll click. I don't know. Right, next up, the belters keep coming. This is another stunning game. It's still stunning to this day. And we've got Wave Race 64. Very close to launch with the N64. Blew me away at the time, and it still does now. The water effects are stunning. It's never been better. No game that I've ever seen has got better water effects than this on a racing game. It's just phenomenally good. And again, come on Nintendo, we need another Wave Race game. Even their own efforts on the GameCube failed to compare to that. Right, next up, I'm kind of grouping some together here in the same boat because I don't know which I've played more, but it's the Ridge Racer series. I've picked these two out because these are probably the two I've played the most, but I've played them all and loved them. In addition to these, obviously Revolution, I played that a bit less, and I didn't like 4, so I certainly didn't play that very much. But then I loved 5 on the PS2 and 7 on the PS3 and 6 on the Xbox. All stunning, played loads of them, but I probably didn't play them as much as these two. That obviously, when I got my Japanese PS1 for stupid money when it was released, I'd only got this game, so I couldn't play anything else, but frankly I didn't want to, because this felt like you'd got the arcade at home. It was just mind-blowingly good, and it still is mind-blowingly good. I can play this right now and love it just as much. It's magnificent. But I do think Rage Racer kind of improved on the format. There's much more depth to it. Obviously there's loads more cars, loads more tracks, more variety in the tracks. And we played this for Steve's Racing Challenge a few months ago, and it's still fantastic. So the Ridge Racer series in general is magnificent. And I feel like a broken record here, but come on Namco, we need another Ridge Racer game. Right, now we're getting into unbelievable quality territory. We're on number whatever this is, and we're starting to, well, yeah, all these following are all gold, and all consequently by Sega. So first one we've got is Virtua Racing. I don't know how many hours I've put into this over the years. So good. You know, the original arcade cabinet, sit down cab with the hydraulic seat that pushed into your sides. Oh, and then obviously it got ported to the Mega Drive, and obviously it's pared down, but it's on the Mega Drive. You know, it shouldn't have been possible. It's a damn good game, and it still plays well today. Obviously graphically it's limited, but it still looks reasonable, but most importantly plays really well. And I do love this Japanese Virtua Racing box. It's unique amongst Mega Drive boxes. But then after the Mega Drive, I moved on to the 32X version, and this just blew me out the water again, because this is absolutely stunning. A phenomenal game. Looks a lot better, obviously. It's the best game on the 32X. They expanded on it with more cars, more tracks. Honestly, the hours I put into this, it's an awesomely good game. And then obviously it got released on the Saturn. And unfortunately Sega didn't do it. It was passed on to Time Warner. And it looked really nice, but the handling wasn't the same. That obviously, not being made by Sega, it didn't play quite the same. But once you got used to it, it's still a damn good game, and I loved and played this to death as well. Again, there's quite a bit of depth in this, lots of cars, tracks, etc. So again, really well worth your time. But if you want the true arcade experience, play the 32X version, or perhaps even more, play the Switch version, because that is phenomenal. Unfortunately, there's no physical. Oh, I would have loved a physical of that. Right, we're into serious territory now. And next up, we've got Daytona. What is there to say about Daytona? It's just, I'm going to sound like a broken record again now, because I'm going to say all these next games are magnificent. Perfection. It's just Sega at its best. Arcade racing at its best. Gaming at its best. The first one of these being Daytona. It's just so good. And this is obviously the Saturn version. Yes, it looks rough, but most importantly, it plays really, really well. And it still plays really well to this day. You know, Sega had a bash at doing this again on the Saturn, and that version is poor in comparison. It just looks way better, but plays way worse. And then they had another go on the Dreamcast, which is not a bad game, actually. I've played that again recently, having not had a very good opinion of it. And I played it with this Dreamcast steering wheel, and to my sort of amazement, it's really not a bad game. That I'm going to be playing more of that hopefully soon. But again, if you want the sort of definitive version, if you haven't got an arcade machine, unfortunately I haven't, play it on the PS3 or Xbox. They are so good. Unfortunately you can't download it anymore, which is a real crying shame, but thankfully I've got it on both my PS3 and Xbox, and I would say by far and away it's the game I've played most on both systems. Well, perhaps not, definitely the PS3, and I've probably played all since the PS3 was launched. I would say I've played Daytona on that for 90% of the time the PS3 has been on, and the other 10% is all the other games combined, my playing time on the PS3. That's how good it is, and that's how much I like Daytona. Right, we're into the top 3 now. You can probably guess what's coming, so it's just a case of what order. So my number 3 spot, and this could, you know, in many ways, I wouldn't argue with you if you said it was the greatest game ever made, and I think my good friend James, Game Zone Birdroom, would say this is the greatest game ever made. Sega Rally. I mean, there's nothing to not like about Sega. Even if you don't like racing games, there's fun to be had with Sega Rally. But this game is perfection. It looks and plays and sounds just amazing. I think it was Das Cajones de Loro that said you can feel the gravel under the car, and you can. It's stunning, and this Saturn version is absolute perfection. It plays just like the arcade. Again, it might not look fantastic. It still looks good in my opinion. It's better than Daytona looked. And it's still reasonable today, but most importantly, it plays phenomenally. And, you know, I love the game so much. I've played it ever since, you know, these are my original Saturn games. I've never sold my Saturn. You know, I've got the this network edition, Sega Rally Plus. The original one I got back in the day was the American version, actually, in this nice shiny silver box. So I kind of kept this for nostalgia, really. It's obviously the Japanese version I would probably play now, but I mean, I think the Japanese version was slightly modified from this, actually, because this came out first, which is why I had this first. But it just blew me away, and what a Christmas this was for the PAL Saturn, when you got Sega Rally, Virtua Fighter 2 and Virtua Cop all at the same Christmas. I mean, come on, that's the greatest Christmas ever. But yeah, Sega Rally, it's phenomenal, and I've been playing it ever since, and I still play it regularly to this day. It's amazing. The best version you can play is the PS2 version, which comes as a kind of a bonus demo disc with this Sega Rally 2006. But like I say, you get the a more or less arcade sort of perfect port on the PS2, and again, I've put hours into this as well. It's amazing. It's harder than the Saturn version, but I mean, it looks pucker. It's honestly, it's so. I want to play these games now just talking about them. So we're into the top 2. You know what I'm going to say, obviously. Again, it's a case of which order. I honestly wouldn't like to say, but I think purely from a time perspective, I've got to put them in this order, simply because of the time and the years I've had to play them. So my number 2 pick is OutRun 2. This game is perfect. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's, I would say, with my sensible hat on and my common sense hat on, this is the greatest game ever made on anything, for anything. It's just, honestly, I will never tire of playing this. And right to this day, I would say I spend 50% of my gaming time playing OutRun 2. It's that good. It's still that good. And I'll play it on the Xbox, on the PS2, the cab I built myself, you know, I love playing on that. Words can't describe how good this is. It sounds amazing, it looks amazing, it plays amazing. It's just heaven. So, obviously, my number 1 is the mighty original OutRun, which is lying in my shrine behind me. I had to put that number 1 purely because it was out for like 18 years prior to OutRun 2 being released. So I've had 18 more years to play that than I have OutRun 2. And I still play the original OutRun now. Not as much as OutRun 2, but I still play it regular. You know, I've played, obviously, you know, I've got every version except like there's an old PC version. I've never played that. But you know, I've hadn't played all the others. But you know, obviously some are terrible. You know, the home computer ports are generally awful. But all the versions since then, like the Master System I used to love, I now think it's a bit pants, I must be honest. The Mega Drive is really not a bad port. The PC Engine is a fantastic port. Even on the Game Boy Advance, really good. And then obviously the killer best port is on the Saturn. Phenomenal. Again, it's just amazing. It's the arcade at home. Obviously you can get it on the Dreamcast on the Yu Suzuki pack, which is great. But obviously the car's different. Same with the Switch version. Fantastic on the Switch. And I believe you can still download that. So if you want to play OutRun, get it on the Switch. It's phenomenal. It's just the car that's different. But fun times are going to be had. And that's it. That's what I guesstimate is my most played top 10 games. So, be good to hear yours. Thanks for watching. Sayonara.